One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report and pace his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Man, oh man, we made it to freaking Hump Day Wednesday, man. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their morning, their afternoon, evening, wherever the hell you guys are tuning in from. Much love, honor, and respect to everybody. We got quite a bit of a lineup. Not so much going on, and today, like right this second, there is something happening right this second, but not a whole bunch of like crazy stories that we can talk about for an hour. So we brought basically a whole bunch of shit from yesterday leading up to what today is, because there's been a lot that was discussed even after that I got off the show. There's been a lot that has broke out in the news. So we're going to be talking a lot about a whole bunch of shit, but the way that I have this titled is Trump meets with Poland's president, which is today. Epstein victims press conference is happening actively right now as we speak. That is what's happening. And then I have it labeled and more. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the 33,000 Epstein files released by the GOP, as well as Trump may declare national housing emergency that was talked about yesterday, as well as Trump addresses his health conspiracies yesterday during his big announcement regarding moving the U.S. Space Command over from Colorado to Huntsville, Alabama. Roll Tide, baby! As well as a video of U.S. strike on alleged drug boat from Venezuela. We actually have the, quote, video of the ordeal there, so we will show you guys that. Judge rules as well. Judge rules that Trump's use of National Guard in L.A. is illegal. You gotta love these rogue fucking just piece of shit judges that do shit for everything's political reasons, right? But explain to me, judge, where the fuck is it that it's illegal and or unconstitutional to be able to deploy the National Guard? I don't understand it. The amount of cope is insane. Then we also had something go on that was interesting yesterday as Trump accuses Xi Jinping, Putin, and Kim Jong-un of conspiring against the United States. And we have a lot of shit that we're following up on as well. I always tell you guys that we're going to be following up certain stories that don't necessarily get completely covered, whether it's like a breaking news and like, hey, well, we'll revisit this when we get the information. Regarding the Ding Dong Ditch kid that got killed in this over there in Houston, suspect charged with 11-year-old's murder. So we have an update on that, as well as new bill could extend D.C. federal takeover into next year, as well as school districts enrollment down over ICE fears. So I guess public schools and stuff like that are actually down, and they're blaming it off of ICE. Not really sure. And then we have Hegseth on U.S. drug boat strike, as well as 11 Tren de Aragua members were killed as well. So there's a lot going on, and that's the lineup for the morning. Before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. It helps. Listen, and you know what else is free is hitting that freaking subscribe button. It's insane how much people resist hitting that subscribe button. I just don't understand it. Anyways, please consider, though, becoming a member starting at $2.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is the way that we are self-sufficient and stay in business, man. So thank you guys so much for your support, your gifted memberships, your membership signups. All of these things are a huge deal. And real quick, I did want to give a special shout out since we're talking about memberships right here. We got Brother Gorilla Biscuits that dropped in before we'd even started a Mike Ball membership. I really appreciate you, kind sir. Thank you for gifting it out and showing some love this morning, man. I really, really, really do appreciate that shit. It goes a long way. All right, let's see here. Follow my Instagram right here at Ball Valve TV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news. And I actually broke the news on my Instagram last night, regarding the Epstein files, the 33,000 pages. But nonetheless, that's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We also have a Discord for you guys, for the Insane Wheels family. Make sure you guys hit that link for the Discord, whether it's in the chat from Naomi, or if you guys are watching this on the playback, in the video description down below. Last but not least, every super chat, super sticker, gifted membership signups, all these things are going to be shouted out. And of course, presented live onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they'd take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms, of course, that I will be, just allow this to free float for the rest of the show. And if anything is sent in, I will, of course, read it out loud. I've got my email up. So if anything comes through, I will absolutely shout it out, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Gorilla Biscuits gifting out another one, bro. He's on a roll, bro. Thank you. Brother GB showing a lot of love, man. I really, really appreciate that. So good morning to everybody. We got Rabbit of Chaos up in here. Good morning to you. We got Path Killer as well as Rebecca and Charles. Good to see you guys as well. We got Steve Posey. Good morning, good morning. We got Brother 13 in the building. Yes, sir. Great to see you. As well as Gary and Miss Lotus. Good morning, you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. We got Yuri Matos saying, Insanos MC. Yes, sir. Great to see you, my man. ISSI. Let's see. We got Naomi saying, hit the like. Yes, we got to get the like button hit and smashed. You know what I mean? We got I Am Lamp Fam, which is obviously Anson, saying, we doing pop balloon pop again today, Mike? No, we're not going to do balloon pop today. Not happening today, kind sir. Let's see here. We are scrolling down. I liked it 3 times. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Thank you for that. Real quick, before we get into the madness of the morning, man, we first got to let you guys know you got to obey.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
I hope you also have a fantastic hump day, Brother GB. If you're around this evening, we're going to be doing the Diamond Effect at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, so hopefully you guys can make that as well. Always great conversations. We got Brother Frank up in the building as well. Good morning to you as well. Anson is my spirit. Where is it? Anson is my spirit animal, Naomi says. That's hilarious. We got Ray Moto Life, even though he's on his new YouTube channel, Ray's the King. Great to see you, my man. Good morning, good morning. Now I need a cup of coffee. Me too. You know what's funny is I haven't had coffee in almost, I want to say it's been about 8 months, 9 months without any coffee whatsoever. Kind of crazy. All right. And especially for a guy like me, I used to drink like an entire pot of coffee a day for many, many, many years. All right, here we go. Let's get into the very first thing. We're not going to, since we have so much in the lineup this morning, we're going to be doing a lot of skipping around and not listening to every analysis that's happening in the mainstream media regarding all these topics. We're going to get the facts and then move on, okay? So we have a lot to push through this morning. Let's do this. Let's get the playback speed up a little bit. Here we go.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. So many people have been waiting for this, the moment of the release of the Epstein files, and the time is apparently right now, but it will also take some time to comb through over 30,000 documents. And I do want to put up this.
That's very, very true, by the way, Naomi says. Now Mike skips the coffee and just has the pot. That's true. Very true. Facts.
A post here from the House Oversight, the GOP Oversight, saying we just released all the subpoenaed documents from the DOJ related to the Jeffrey Epstein. Access them.
Well, here's the thing, Rebecca. Usually, this is why I don't watch Fox News, what Fox is. This isn't Fox News, even though it's a branch of Fox News. It's a branch of Fox. Live Now from Fox is fantastic. They do a really good job, and this is why I use them as my primary reporting platform, right, Rebecca? Because they do a great job of just explaining the fact, and then if there's any opinions that are being shown, it's not from the reporter. It's usually from the person they're bringing on, right? So, and I also know a lot of their guests that they bring on. I've just watched them a million times. They bring them on for different reasons. Let's say there's something going on in the Middle East. They have special people they bring on from the Middle East or whatnot. You know what I mean? But I use them a lot because of their unbiasedness. It's biased towards the truth, and that's what I care about. You know what I mean? And anytime I see that there's anything weird or anything like that, I do call that out.
There at that site, of course, there on social media. James Comer also saying Oversight has released some 33,295 pages of Epstein-related records that were provided by the U.S. Department of Justice.
Real quick, it says right here, so the GOP Oversight Committee has released 33,295 pages of Epstein-related records that were provided by the U.S. Department of Justice. DOJ has indicated it will continue producing records while ensuring the redaction of victim identities and I don't know what AMP is, child abuse material. All right, so real quick, we got Brother Sick Bastard saying, what difference from stopping coffee did you notice, if I may ask? Yeah, I honestly feel a lot better. I have kind of a fucked up stomach, especially in the morning. And it never did me any type of justice when I was drinking it. It always just kind of fucked me up even further. So I'm honestly like, I feel like in a gut way, I feel a lot better. I still deal with stomach issues, but yeah, I would say that is the main thing. I probably have a lot more energy than because when you're not relying on that anymore, now you can, whatever. Yeah, I don't use lots of caffeine aside from when I drink vodka Red Bulls or something like that. But that's kind of like a upper and a lower combined, Anyways,
the DOJ has indicated it will continue producing records while ensuring the redaction of victims' identities and child abuse materials. And that was a main component we heard from earlier on today with Speaker Mike Johnson, the privacy of this, as some of the people that were speaking behind closed doors on Capitol Hill today dated back to when they were some 14 years old. And of course, this bipartisan pressure to release the files related to the federal investigation into Epstein, a convicted sex offender who died in jail in 2019. Several accusers of Epstein and his partner, Ghislaine.
Good morning, Tiffany, as well, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the comments right now.
Maxwell, who is serving 20 years in prison for sex trafficking on Capitol Hill on Tuesday. They met privately with the House Speaker and leadership there. The Oversight Committee is in the midst of an investigation into Epstein and has promised to release the files, which it just did, and is subpoenaed there from the Justice Department. A bipartisan legislative effort for more public access and
I know it theoretically would be my friend Anson, but I just don't like yogurt. I don't like anything dairy. I don't like anything. I just don't like any of it.
Progress. We've heard from Thomas Massey, the representative from Kentucky, and others seeking to make the public's file in a discharge petition. So potentially getting past this in a big way today. There may not have to be a vote on the floor of the House. Let's take you right now, though, out to some comments from James Comer.
What's up, Two Wheel Jesus? Good morning.
After meeting with some of these victims earlier on today, and this comes as we're also watching some 30,000 documents, pages of the Epstein files being released.
Well, we've subpoenaed thus far in the initial batch. We subpoenaed 6 former attorneys general, as well as the Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. We've expanded that to Alex Acosta.
What's up, Kel? Good morning to you as well. Let me go ahead and bring down the volume a little bit. That he's a little loud on this specific shot. he's pretty damn
coming
high.
in, I believe September the 19th, 16th or 19th. We've got that date down. I know that we'll have a lot of questions for him with respect to an earlier Epstein prosecution that he was involved in when
That's their audio, not mine.
he was U.S. attorney. We have the documents, the initial batch that had been sent by the White House. As you know, we also
Come on, you guys, get their fucking audio right. You guys have one job as an audio engineer.
subpoenaed Pam Bondi for those documents. The White House is working with us. I want to publicly thank the White House for turning over so many documents thus far. We're in the process of uploading those documents for full transparency so everyone in America can see those documents. It's going to, as quick as we can get them uploaded, and as the Speaker said.
Good. I'm just, you know, I mean, you guys did vote to not put this out, so I'm a little skeptical on both sides of the equation, of course. For me, there's two things that's going to happen from this whole ordeal. Either absolutely nothing, or both sides are going down. And I'm okay with both, you know what I mean? I'm okay with both. Just letting you know. We got Brother Papa Penguin joining up, hanging out with us this morning. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. Where do you want me to send that stuff I was working on for you? Hey, Papa, you can send that either to my phone, my text, or you can send it on Instagram. I'll read it there as well and study what you wrote down there for sure. All right.
34,000 pages. So we're doing everything we can to get those uploaded. We want those to be public as soon as possible. And then we're going to continue to bring in more people. We learned of some additional names today. We're going to do everything we can to give the American public the transparency they seek, as well as provide accountability in memory of the victims who have already passed away, as well as those that were in the room and many others who haven't come forward. So we're sincere about this. This was a 2.5-hour discussion. It was as bipartisan as anything I've seen in the 9 years I've been here. Appreciate the Speaker for giving us the authority to seek out everything that I think you all want and the people that I talk to as I travel America want. We're going to do everything we can to get the answers and to do it as soon as possible. I'll yield back.
Question or two, Manu.
No, we don't need to sit here and go through them talking and speculating and random ask questions. And then we got this chick that's gonna come on and explain it. Like, who the fuck is this chick or dude? I don't know. Either way, it's got me a little emotionally damaged.
Emotional damage.
All right, we're moving on. President Trump may declare national housing emergency. This was as of yesterday, so let me go ahead and pull this up for you. But real quick, again, you guys must have...
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
Yes, Papa Penguin, I have it up here. Let me see. When I opened up the show, I explained what we're going to be talking about today. But let me go ahead and bring up, it says, we have a video of U.S. strike on alleged drug boat from Venezuela. We have that. And then we also have one other thing. Let me try to find this. Is that the only thing I've got on it? I could have swore I had two. No, I do. Hegseth on U.S. drug boat strike, and 11 Tren de Aragua members were killed. So I have that. So yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and move into President Trump may declare national housing emergency. Let's go ahead and bring that up for you guys as well. Here we go. And look, there's Lucy in the back, by the way. She was right there. Yep, you can see her tail. Come here, Lucy. Here she comes. She came running. See? What's up, Lucy? Shit. All right, here we go.
Let's shift gears here a little bit on Live Now from Fox and talk about another initiative that the Trump administration is pushing forward with. They're considering a potential national housing emergency as soon as this fall. That a report from the Washington Examiner, Christian Daytalk, and also President Trump confirming that today at that press
What's up, Robert? Good morning to you
conference
as well.
Inside of the Oval Office. For more on this and what it potentially could look like, let's take you out to Mike Emanuel with this report.
Our housing industry is good, but it could be phenomenal.
President Trump is putting the spotlight on housing. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the president is considering a national housing emergency declaration in the fall to address high costs and low availability. There aren't many specifics available, but the White House is reportedly looking at standardizing local building and zoning codes and decreasing closing costs.
We're looking at what the president has available to him. This president understands real estate. He understands housing better than anybody. We will fix this housing market.
It comes as the president ramps up his war of words with Fed Chair Jerome Powell, claiming his reluctance to cut interest rates is making housing unaffordable.
We have this affordability crisis, and there are two ways to fix it. We're bending the curve on inflation, and then we can bring down prices.
But some conservatives are opposing the emergency declaration, arguing the market needs to correct itself.
We want to encourage home ownership, but you got to have the housing out there. The housing stock is not.
Well, yeah, that is very true. For instance, like where I live right now, it's a place that a lot of people are trying to move into now. Our population is growing way rapidly here. And the problem is we don't have enough housing. That's the biggest issue. We have enough land, but we don't have enough housing, and what ends up happening is these are huge parcels of land, especially where I live. Huge parcels of land. I mean, we're talking hundreds of acres for some of these places. And eventually what happens is you get these housing development investors and all that shit, and they try to buy up your land to be able to make houses or housing tracts or any of that shit. And that's the worry, at least here, that, hey, they're going to eventually be coming in here asking, to give you a whole bunch of money to be able to give up your shit. And it's a type of, land grab essentially, but in a legal way. But still, it is scary because that a lot of people will take the deal. If they're offering you twice the amount that your land is currently worth or whatever the case is, you're probably going to, for a lot of people, they're going to take it. Not everybody, but anyway.
Growing fast enough. That's the bottom line here.
And Democrats who have made housing affordability a major issue say President Trump is just playing politics, hoping to appeal to more moderate voters ahead of the midterm elections.
Affordability is something that has to be applied across the board.
The president is also reportedly considering dropping tariffs on construction materials to bring down new home prices. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much for that report. Of course,
I literally hate that every time they do the Fox News. Why? Why do you have to? Who told you guys over there, you dumbasses, that you guys have to do that shit? That's lame.
This coming in from Christian Daytalk as Trump speaking in the Oval Office, confirming what Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, told him yesterday, considering declaring this national emergency, saying we're, quote, thinking about doing that. Let's be joined right now by that Washington Examiner White House correspondent, Christian Daytalk. Thank you so much for joining us. You sat down with the Treasury Secretary at a diner in Virginia, and this potentially caught you by surprise. What would a national housing emergency look like? What are they proposing doing?
Well, this would be a first, Andy. And when I say I was surprised to hear those words come out of Scott Bessent's mouth, I really can't underscore. My jaw was on the ground. This is something we've heard about primarily from Democrats over the last 5 years in the post-COVID era. But there have been a growing number of Republicans who want the federal government to step in here. And I noted in that package, Steve Moore is up there. Traditionally, you'd think that conservatives like President Trump wouldn't actually want the market to work out some of these kinks. But what we've seen through the president's first 7 months in office is that he is not necessarily adhering to.
It's funny, Anson, is this guy, Christian, he's been on Fox Live now, how I was explaining how some of these guys are reoccurring guests, which I know I'm just reiterating this. Every time that I see this guy, I'm thinking like this motherfucker's up to no good. Like he's got something up his sleeve. That's literally what I think every time. But anyways, again, like I said, we don't need to go way too into depth over here. We just wanted to get a little bit of the what the facts are here, and then of course this guy's just gonna whine over the top of them for 20 fucking minutes, which we're not gonna do. We're gonna move on. Let's go ahead and move on into the next ordeal. Breaking, this was yesterday. Trump addresses the health conspiracy. So let's go ahead and bring this up. This happened yesterday during his big announcement regarding the, here, let me pull it up. The U.S. Space Command being moved, the headquarters over to Huntsville, Alabama. That was his big announcement yesterday. And remember, I had the title of the big announcement that was going to be happening yesterday, but, it wasn't going to happen in my streaming time frame. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that out for you guys. But nonetheless, here is one of the questions that was happening. And of course, this is one of the big highlights, right? It's so funny how this shit works. But all right.
Something completely different, but about a big viral
Why is it so fucking loud?
social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong.
Yeah, that is true, but you got to look at, like, people know that you're, as Trump, you're someone that is eager to get in front of the camera. You're very good connecting that way. You're very good at that shit. So when all of a sudden you kind of disappear off the face of the planet there for, a couple of days, people get worried. And they're like, well, where the fuck is he? Like, what the hell happened? He's usually so out in the open. What's going on
with him? And we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff. Well, it's fake news. It's just so...
It got like 1.3 million, not impressions. That would mean they just saw it 1.3 times as they're scrolling through their feed. Whatever this report was like used like 1 million times.
It's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying...
Let me see what Steve Posey's asking here. I haven't read it yet. Mike, do you agree or disagree with non-citizens' eligibility for Section 8 housing being removed? I agree that they should lose their housing. Yes, I do agree with that. That's my stance.
Is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, it's Labor Day weekend. So
what's up, Doug
I would
Ross?
say a lot of
Good
people
morning.
know I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
I do want to ask you about what we saw today inside of the Oval Office, and that being the appearance of President Trump, as we have not seen him.
Wow, they brought him back. Well, it's probably from that exact interview that we were just watching, and then Andy Mack, I'm sure he bared the question to this guy.
Since that cabinet meeting, the extended one,
I do want to hear this part.
3 hours long last Thursday. And of course, there were rumors going around, circulating, speculation. Peter Doocy over at Fox News even asked if President Trump saw some of the social media rumblings about his health concerns. Do you think his appearance today quelled some of those? Is there anything amiss at the White House right now, Christian?
It might not have quelled the rumors entirely, but it certainly put a damper on, let's just call it liberal TikTok. I was scrolling myself trying to, assess how the president's words were resonating with some of these voters on the other side of the aisle on the Democrat.
I agree with that, Miss Lotus, by the way. I have often told my frustrations regarding dealing with the past to justify what you're currently doing. I understand that to an extent, but when you reiterate it so many fucking times, it's, first of all, it makes your position look really weak. And I see... Obviously, I speak on Israel a lot, and I see that from Netanyahu. He always refers back to the past, and the shit is fucking annoying. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. You don't need to reiterate it every time you get in front of a camera. You don't need to do that. And I agree with that regarding that part. But anyways, Miss Lotus, great to see you, by the way. Hopefully you're enjoying your Wednesday. I know you've been here, but just wanted to thank you.
Side of the aisle. And, I think everyone ultimately believed that this wasn't true, but especially over a long holiday weekend, I think a lot of folks, opponents of President Trump, were disappointed that, the fun has run its course, so to speak. And I would point out one thing on the president's response. He said he hadn't heard that he had passed away. He had, heard people...
Charles, the answer is between these two, neither.
talking about, is he healthy or not? But not to that extent, the rumors that Doocy brought up. That being said, this announcement very easily could have been made via a press release or an email.
That's a very good, man, that's a W comment for the day. 13 says, the longer it takes a woman to put on a pair of jeans, the better she looks in them. That's damn fast. Bro, if she's struggling to get those motherfuckers on, the better. Shit. We got America Uncensored as well. Brother AU up in the building. Shout out to my man. Good morning.
And to speak the parlance of the internet.
Oh, shit.
And I do think one
real quick, we got a donation, man. We got Doug Ross up, or Doug Kirk. Man, thank you so much, man, for sending in from all the way in Canada. Doug Ross is the man. Let's see. It says converted to $6.95 USD. Thank you for that, kind sir. Thank you for that. He says, note from Douglas Ross. Mike not rolling in cash, but maybe get you a couple of beers. No, dude, it doesn't matter if you were rolling in cash. It actually means more to me that you're not rolling in cash and you're willing to send me $6-7, man. I really, really fucking appreciate that. Sincerely. It goes way further than people understand, bro. So, like, I'm very honored by that.
Reasons he appeared out in public was to directly address these rumors. So again, timing is everything to President Trump. It's not a surprise. We saw him out, immediately after the holiday weekend, given how these rumors were circulating on social media.
And he also pointed back to President Biden potentially not in the public light too much in terms of that. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily weeks, as he alluded to, in time, but it was some distance. So an interesting contrast.
We're going to go ahead and move on into now, I guess we have the video of over there with the alleged drug boat from Venezuela. We have the video of the U.S. strike on that boat. So let's go ahead and bring this up. We have a couple of things. We have an update from this part as well, but we're trying to do things in chronological order here, right? So let me go ahead and bring this up for you guys, and then we can discuss it together.
Take a look at this video coming in.
Why is it so fucking loud, dude? Why does it start off so loud?
From President Trump. He did say earlier today that the U.S. carried out a strike in the southern Caribbean against a drug-carrying vessel that departed from Venezuela. The president later posting this video that you're seeing on Truth Social, along with a post saying earlier this morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against...
What's up, brother Mount High? My man, good morning and happy hump day. We got our left-handed tobacco rocking and rolling. You know the deal.
Positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization operating...
Yes, sir, Doug. I really appreciate you, man, all the way up there in Canada.
...under the control of Nicolas Maduro, responsible for mass murder, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the U.S. and Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters, transporting...
What's up, brother SNS? Great to see you hanging out in the chat as well. Good morning.
...illegal narcotics heading to the U.S. The strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in the strike. Please let this serve as notice to anybody even thinking about bringing drugs into the U.S. Beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, this is the video right here. Now, we also heard a brief remark here from President Trump.
That was the explosion right there. I'm going to bring that back. All right, you're about to see them smoke this motherfucker.
Again, this is the video right here.
2,
now, we also heard...
There it is. Bam.
Gone. A brief remark here from President Trump as he spoke earlier in the Oval Office.
When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just... over the last few minutes, literally shot out a...
Gunpowder Nitro, good morning, kind sir.
A boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago. And
which we did see the video. We got Liquored Up with Poncho. Good morning as well. Happy hump day.
Our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so... incredible, including what took place in Iran, knocking out potential nuclear power for a long time to come. I think within a month they would have had it if we didn't do what we did. But he gave us a little bit of a briefing, and you'll see. And there's more where that came from. We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from...
Yeah, Pablo, it's interesting that they said 11 because it does look like it could maybe fit, or what I saw, like 4 people maybe. Interesting.
Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela. So we took it out, and you'll get to see that after this meeting is over.
All right.
That was President Trump as he spoke earlier today in the Oval Office, revealing the information about this strike. And then, as I mentioned, releasing that video right there on your screen. I do want to talk.
That is very, very true, SNS. The U.S. government is the biggest drug smugglers in the world. That's fact.
Talk more about all of this here. So let's bring in Ken Gray, professor of practice in the Criminal Justice Department at the University of New Haven, also a former FBI special agent. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Hi, Josh. Glad to be here.
All right, so the first question I have to ask you here is, from a national security standpoint, what do you make of all of this, the release of the video and the information provided by President Trump?
Yeah, so
by designate, you got Brother Warland up in the building. We were just wondering where you were as well. Hopefully you're enjoying your hump day so far.
Trinidad Aragua, a foreign terrorist organization. This sets them up for actions against them in addition to regular law enforcement. It puts us also into the realm of the national security threat and can be addressed by both law enforcement and by the military. So the other cartels that are running drugs into the United States should take note about this action, because they might be next. The next.
Well, yeah, I mean, anybody that is bringing in drugs to the United States, you have a. They just said, I mean, they wanted to use this as propaganda to say, listen, you guys do this and try to bring drugs into the United States. That's not going to happen under our account without us getting fucking involved first, type shit. So it just is what it is. Let's go ahead and move on into the next ordeal. We don't need him to ramble on it. What we needed was the facts. Anyways, speaking of facts, seems like a judge over there in well, I don't know exactly where, but I'm assuming Los Angeles. But a judge rules Trump's use of National Guard in LA is illegal.
Stop the cap.
Bullshit. That's insane. To say that it is illegal or unconstitutional to send in the National Guard is insane. That's insane work. These rogue fucking judges, man, they have such a narrative to play. And they do. They fucking do. All right, let's bring this up and bring down the volume too so we don't bust our ears open.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'm here on this Tuesday, September 2nd, to bring you all of your top stories, live events, and breaking news from across the country and across the world.
Thank you,
I do want to get back to a big story that we have been following here, as a judge has now ruled that the Trump administration's use of National Guard troops during Southern California immigration enforcement protests was illegal. The judge saying earlier today that President Trump's administration violated federal law by sending troops to accompany federal agents on immigration raids. Our Fox 11 LA team has been following this from the get-go. They provided a lot of the video that you're seeing right there on your screen, and they just filed this report.
For a few days in June, 3 blocks in
I know, Anson, but they were just trying to use that as a propaganda piece to be able to tell the rest of the world, you do this shit to us, we're going to fuck you up. That's essentially it. That's it.
Downtown Los Angeles became the focal point of protests against ICE raids in the greater Los Angeles area. Despite objections from LA Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom, President Trump sent in National Guard and Marines. Nearly 3 months later, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer sided with the governor in his lawsuit against that action.
This decision validates that the power of the president is not boundless. Trump is not king.
This fucking guy.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Fact. Very gay.
Shit. Trump's decision to deploy military troops to the streets of Los Angeles was nothing more than an act of political theater and public intimidation.
Political theater? Not according to the president.
We cleaned up Los Angeles. We did a great job there. And it was overwhelming what was going on. And again, the police chief made a statement that...
What's up, Brother Hardwire? Good morning and happy hump day.
We could not have done, there's no way they could handle it. You saw what was happening out there. It was going to be a disaster. We stopped it cold.
But in fact, LAPD Chief McDonnell said multiple times he didn't want nor need the federal troops.
The Marines working
together with the Army National Guard, are in the same configuration, and their mission is the same. But their mission is not to work with us on the streets to maintain order, restore order, and keep everybody safe.
Los Angeles has one of the largest police departments in the country. Their officers are...
Bro.
Why are you gay? Hired, trained, and resourced for civilian law enforcement. The National Guard and Marines are not.
Man, this guy's a goofball, bro.
Stupid. And that was our Fox 11 LA team with a breakdown of all of this, but I do want to dig in just a little bit deeper. Let's bring in James DeSimone, an LA civil rights attorney, to explain this a little bit.
Oh, and I'm sure it is, Papa. Papa always has the background knowledge, the in-depth knowledge of these kind of scenarios, and I'm very interested in knowing the insight to it for sure. For sure.
Further.
And he's talking about the Venezuela thing.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us on this Tuesday.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, so first off, the big question I did want to ask you here is, can you break down kind of the basics of all of this and what that judge decided?
Well, it was an exceptional order.
So this is an LA civil rights attorney, by the way.
Today, which really laid out, because you not only had a judge who's making a ruling, but it was after a 4-day trial of evidence. And he relied on the Posse Comitatus Act, which basically says that the police powers are reserved to the states. I mean, this emanates from the 10th Amendment. This act was passed after Reconstruction, 1878, ironically, by southern states who didn't want the federal troops there to enforce some of the things that were happening after slavery. But this is the law. Police practices, police law enforcement is reserved to the states. We have the LAPD, we have the LA County Sheriffs. There was no insurrection, so there was...
Yeah, but if LA is not adequately, which meaning the mayor or the governor, the cops are not, they're only going to do what the fucking mayor and the governor tell them what they can and cannot do, okay? So if the mayor and the governor are going against the current administration and they're not handling their business federally, he can come in and say, yeah, I have a duty and obligation to protect my people, no matter what city or town or state you're in.
No basis for sending all those troops to Los Angeles.
What are some of the legal limits? This is a question that's been asked quite a bit, but what are some of the legal limits of the president's authority when it comes to deploying the National Guard domestically, especially if it's not considered to be non-emergency?
Lucy is definitely gay for me. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Which is what the judge seemed to determine.
Well, that's just it. It has to be an emergency. I mean, you can't just, as a matter of course, insert the military into major cities across the United States, as our president seems hell-bent intent on doing right here. I mean, what would have justified it? Maybe January 6, 2021, when you actually had a mob descending upon our capital and trying to overthrow the workings of government so the election wouldn't take place. That truly was an insurrection. They were trying to stop our government from proceeding, and were doing so.
Oh, my God, Anson. Jesus.
In a violent way. They weren't sent on that day by our president. And they certainly, in this instance, what we had here in Los Angeles, which, yes, you had some vandalism, you had some violence. I am a Los Angeles-based attorney. I have been down there. I have many clients who participated in those protests who were injured. So I really have a good...
You just got to love when you got people like this, Doug. And I made a video on Instagram about it, about this whole ordeal. And, here, actually, fuck it. Why not I just, instead of me just, saying it, I'll just go ahead and show you. All right, let me go ahead and bring this page on over. Let me bring this comment down real quick. All right, so let's go ahead and share this. Bam. Hopefully it's not too loud. Yeah. Show you later. I find this whole thing ironic. You have a whole bunch of these protesters out there that are protesting with the Mexican flag, the very flag that they don't want to go back to, the very country they don't want to go back to, the very country they don't want to get deported to, burning the American flag and spitting on top of it. Mostly peaceful, right? Shit. All right, let's go ahead and go into the next ordeal here. Well, not next ordeal. Let me go back into where we were. Let me go ahead and bring this up.
Finger on the pulse of what was going on there. You had a few Waymos burned. You had some rock throwing. LAPD and LA County Sheriffs knows how to handle those situations. I don't agree with everything they did to do so, but they certainly didn't justify bringing in the military to dominate our city.
What are the options that are available to the Trump administration now moving forward?
Real quick, Steve Posey says, Mike, what do you think about the Space Force moving the headquarters to Alabama? I think it's a humongous W for fucking Alabama. That brings 30,000 more jobs locally here. And even Trump was asked, he was bared the question. He was asked, well, what about those people in Colorado that can't make the move to Alabama? And he goes, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. Well, we have plenty of people we can hire. We have plenty of people. Not even worried about that. And I was like, whoa, holy shit, motherfucker just went all out, you know, and that was yesterday. But nonetheless, I do think it is awesome. I think it's going to bring a lot of, I think this state in particular, people don't actually understand the history regarding Huntsville and don't understand the space program that's actually here. People think that, oh, it's Alabama. It's piece of shit, you know, down there in the South that only has farm and shit like that. No, there's, I mean, me and Hardwire even went. Hardwire, him, and his old lady Peaches. We all three went, and it was a great ass time. They have a humongous ordeal up here, and once I read up on the knowledge, well, the history of Huntsville and understanding how Operation Paperclip was connected to directly Huntsville, Alabama, it's pretty intense. So it only makes sense that it'd be back here at home, right?
Do they go to court again? How does this all work? What is the next step that they can do?
100%. I mean, this is a district court opinion. Yes, it's a very well-reasoned district court opinion, 52 pages after numerous days in trial and evidence presented. But there's a direct appeal. And in fact, Judge Breyer stayed this decision until September 12th, Friday, September 12th, in order to give the federal government the right to appeal. It'll probably go.
This fucking guy is so cope.
Perhaps to the same three judges that decided it. Two of them were Trump appointees. They saw things differently. And then we might have what's called an en banc decision, which then is decided by 11 justices of the Ninth Circuit. And ultimately, let's face it, given the gravity of this issue and given what's...
Real quick, if you guys can do me a humongous favor and hit that like button, man, it goes a freaking long way. Helps out the show immensely. And it's free to do so. Listen, kind of like what Josephus says. He says, do YouTube things. That means smashing the like, you know, hitting the share button, you know, and sharing it out to somebody. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys.
You have the president who wants to push this on the cities, the use of the military. He's saying now it's going to be to Chicago and to Baltimore. So ultimately, it's going to be a decision by the Supreme Court as to whether or not this is legal.
When you look at it now, it has been several months since the National Guard was deployed there to Los Angeles. Does this ruling have any impact on the future? When you look to the future, if the National Guard were to be deployed to a similar...
Humongous money headed our way, for damn sure. It's gonna fuel the economy down here for damn sure. I mean, we don't even have a lottery, you know. That would have been one of the things that I would have said, like, why does Colorado get to have it? They have a lottery system. They have all this shit. They have all sorts of stuff that can fund their shit. Alabama, truthfully, doesn't have a lot in that regard, which is true. So let them have space. You know what I mean? Let Alabama be the space state. You know?
Situation. Is that essentially what the purpose of all of this is? Because obviously, all of this happened months ago.
They got legal marijuana, you got over there, they got all sorts of shit to fund their shit. And I could just sit here and think of all of the taxes that they're getting over there to fund their shit. Why can't we have a little something to fund over here, you know?
Well, we still have troops here, and we still have immigration enforcement actions. So, but as far as the confrontations that were occurring back in June and July, they've quieted down a bit. And this decision can really only affect the state of California, because the way in which the judge decided this is that it was the state of California, Gavin Newsom, who filed the lawsuit and was held to have standing to sue. So it only impacts the state of California as far as its reach at this point. But yes, I mean, in terms of the practical matter, I think that there's going to be a holding down until September 12th in appeal and see what the Ninth Circuit does with this decision before you have any more major move.
No, Doug, I'm too retarded to do it, man. I'm too retarded. That's for damn sure. All right, let's go and move on into the next ordeal. Trump accuses Xi Jinping as well as Putin and Kim Jong-un of conspiring against the United States. So let's go ahead and bring that up. We'll go ahead and present this real quick. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fucking stories to go, and we're already at 50 fucking minutes, dude. This is unacceptable. This is insane. There's a lot of shit going on. So we'll try to just get the fact and move in. We don't. I try to get as much information as I possibly can, but without getting into the bullshit and especially into the weeds and stuff. We don't need to do that.
Welcome back. I'm Austin Westfall. Take a look at some of these images. We had live images of this happening earlier on in the evening. We don't have the feed anymore, but this was the military parade in Beijing as it was in action. China's President Xi Jinping convening his Russian and North Korean counterparts in Beijing for the first time on Tuesday. This was a show of solidarity with a number of countries that have been shunned by the West over their role in Europe's worst war in 80 years. Reuters says that Xi hosted Vladimir Putin for talks at his personal residence, calling him an old friend. And then a few hours later, he met with Kim Jong-un as Kim Jong-un's armored train was spotted arriving in the Chinese capital. Xi, Putin, and Kim were set to take center stage at...
Oh, man. You don't even know what the hell that is, Naomi? For real? Oh, my goodness. So, we used to... Okay, when I was working up in Seattle, all right? When I was working up in Puget Sound. In Seattle, they have a lot of those fucking topless and or full nude, basically. We used to call it butthole coffee. Hey, you guys want to go to butthole coffee? That's what we used to fucking call it. Swear to God, dude. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of that shit up there for damn sure.
This massive military parade earlier today, we saw images of not only Xi, but we saw Putin watching, Kim Jong-un watching as well. Shortly after these images came in, we saw this post from President Trump. It reads as such. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. That's how it ends. National security analyst, retired Marine intelligence officer, and host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer is here. As you conspire against the United States of America, Hal, you're...
Real quick, we're not going to get into him. We just wanted to get the fact there, the story, and then we're going to move on. Real quick, we got Brother Code TV up in the building saying, Brother Mike, Ball, and chat. Hope you're having a great show. I can't stay in basement, no reception. Oh, I got you, my man. God bless. Hopefully you're enjoying the rest of your, enjoying your morning so far, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your hump day, my man. All right, we're going to move on into the Ding Dong Ditch shooting. We have an update on that, as I always try to bring you guys updated. Anytime we present a story, I try to do my best to be able to track it and present the news as it comes out.
Welcome back and Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. A live look at Houston on this Tuesday evening, 9:15 in H-Town.
Whoa, real quick, Brother Code coming in with the $5 super sticker. You didn't even send in a chat, man. He just wanted to show a little love, man. Thank you so much for that. My man, I thank you so much. Making that shit ring, bro. Thank you very much for that.
Our next story takes us there, and that's where an 11-year-old boy was fatally shot over the weekend after a so-called ding-dong ditch prank. Police now saying that a suspect has been charged with murder, and we're also learning the identity of that suspect and the victim. With more on that story, we bring in Fox 26 Houston's Abigail Dye, who has some exclusive details tonight. Abigail, what more can you tell us?
Man, they got terrible audio out there. Jesus.
And investigators say that
she's really loud. Let me bring her down.
He and his 11-year-old cousin, they were playing Ding Dong Ditch. They were going around the...
Well, let me go ahead and let you guys know if you have any children of the age, you know, they're young kids or whatever. And if they're doing Ding Dong Ditching and all that shit, it's a bad idea in general in today's day and age. It's not the 90s anymore. It's not the 80s and the 70s. Even the 70s and 80s were weird times for their own specific reasons, but nonetheless, don't go onto people's private property. Don't go up to people's houses. Just don't do that. That's a bad idea.
Neighborhood, ringing doorbells, knocking on doors, and then running away. One house they hit several times, and investigators say when they came back that...
Whoa, Brother Doug Ross is also gifting out a membership, man. Thank you so much for the gifted membership, man. That goes a long fucking way as well. You're not only helping me, but you're helping someone in the Breakfast Club, man. Thank you for that.
Final time, Gonzalo Leon Jr. was waiting next to his home outside in the dark, gun in hand. Investigators say that he opened fire, and he hit the victim in the back as that boy was running away. That boy died the next day at the hospital, and now the Harris County District Attorney has charged the suspect in the case, saying that they intend to upgrade this charge to a capital murder charge because of the victim's age.
This was someone brutally murdering an 11-year-old simply because they were mad. We have a little boy who didn't even have a chance to get his life going yet.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible ordeal. And here's the actual picture of him right here.
And went to play Ding Dong Ditch in their East Houston neighborhood. The last house they knocked on sits on the corner of Fidelity and Membro.
Tragically, they picked a house to do it potentially 3 different times in the span of about 15 or 20 minutes. And the third time, the homeowner was laying in wait for him to come back. And when they did, as they were running away, he stepped out, fired once into the ground, as the evidence is showing so far, and then drew down on these 2 little boys and shot one of them in the back, killing him.
It seems like...
I don't know why they would, especially, dude, it's not like the kid's a fucking actual threat. I mean, get the fuck... Dude, get real. You go to pull your gun out on these kids, and you don't even just brandish it. You go and actually fucking shoot him, and then you get him in the back as he's running away. What a fucking pussy. Lame-ass piece of shit. But see, this is pieces of shit. It's little nuances like this. You know, most of the time you can ding-dong ditch everybody and everyone will just laugh or say, oh, fuck that kid, whatever. But then there's a nuance like this, bro. It's terrible.
The suspect shot the 11-year-old in the back and then just went back in his house?
That's exactly what it appears to be. He just shot him down in a street and then just went back about his business.
Meanwhile, records say that Guzman and his cousin ran for about a block before Guzman collapsed, and his cousin tried to drag him to safety. Guzman died the next day at the hospital. Leon was detained and questioned twice over...
So that's the man that did the killing. Shit.
The weekend before he was finally arrested. There were multiple firearms found in the house. Do we have any idea the legality of those?
That's part of the investigation as we're doing it right now. We recovered more than 20 firearms from inside that home. We had a number of rifles that were...
Yes, Josephus, I got you for that one, by the way. Shit.
Seized a number of long guns and at least 3 handguns is my understanding. And what you can never do is discharge your firearm out of anger, ever. When things like that happen, tragedies like this occur.
I understand this guy was a father himself.
That's what we found, is that he had a young child in the home at that point and still decided to draw down and
dude was
murder an
cooked.
11-year-old.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. All right, let's go ahead and move into the next ordeal. New bill could extend D.C. federal takeover into next year. Let me go ahead and present this to you guys, and then we'll actually end off with this story because we're at 57 minutes already. This is a fairly short update, so this will be, or a segment, not an update, it's a segment. All right, let's do this.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox as we continue to follow what President Trump is doing.
And stick around because we're also going to be figuring out who we're going to be rating right after this story. So stick around for that as well.
In order to crack down on crime in several cities across the U.S. And this is a live look out there in Washington, D.C. We're going to be joined now by Fox 5's Melanie Alnwick, who has the latest on this story. Melanie.
Hey, good morning. So what's happening here in Washington, D.C. is a little different than what may happen in other states because, as we know, D.C. is not a state. And so the law does allow President Trump to use the D.C. National Guard for federal purposes for up to 30 days. D.C. also has a long partnership with many different federal agencies that they coordinate with many times for many different reasons, including perhaps things like major events like the inauguration. So it's just a little bit of a different situation. And we do know that we're starting week 4 now of the federal takeover. And there's really 2 things. There's the National Guard and there's a federal takeover. They're both happening at the same time, but they are under different executive orders. The mayor...
Correct. That is true.
Now talking about what things will look like in the city post-emergency, and that includes a continued coordination with federal agencies for the purpose of crime fighting in the District of Columbia. The mayor issued an order yesterday saying that she would stand up what's called the Safe and Beautiful Emergency Operations Center, or SBEOC. It requires coordination with federal law enforcement to the maximum extent allowable by law in the District of Columbia. So that does restrict certain communications and cooperation with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. The order named...
Look at that. That is, what a fucking ordeal. What, you're a liability if you got hair like this, bro. You're trying to be, you know, ATF and shit. Dude, that is insane right there. That rat nest back there? Holy fuck.
There's a lot of the agencies that the city is used to working with: FBI, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, Park Police, Capitol Police, Secret Service. But it does not mention Homeland Security or ICE. Now, Mayor Bowser did say the city did not ask for these federal resources, but her administration is working strategically to use them to the city's benefit. She said that some of this forced partnership is working and some is not.
We know that we have had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and we have experienced an extreme
Why is she so fucking loud?
reduction in carjackings.
This chick right here, she is the worst, by the way. The worst.
What we know is not working is a break in trust between police and community, especially with new federal partners in our community.
Be good, brother Frank. We'll see you on the flip side, my man.
The mayor's order also authorizes local officials to request that all federal agents involved in this partnership identify themselves and avoid wearing masks, which Mayor Bowser says erodes public trust. Meantime, the president says he wants to expand the use of federal troops. Trump suggesting now that the National Guard could operate up to 20 miles outside of the District of Columbia. That would potentially cover parts of Maryland and Virginia for beautification efforts. He didn't spell out any legal basis for this. The president also said, as you've been covering, he said federal intervention to Baltimore and Chicago with or without local approval. Now, back here in D.C., there's been some back and forth between the D.C. Police Union and the mayor and City Council. The police union here says they strongly support what the mayor is doing, try to continue this federal partnership.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got like 3 decades of just neglect over there, Naomi. It's definitely not going to look fantastic.
But they are working to try to roll back some of the laws the city council passed. Criminal justice
Brother Frederick Frame, good morning, kind sir. Good morning.
Reform several years ago that the police union says is damaging D.C. police recruitment efforts. One of the things we know is the city police department is down 500 officers, and they would like to hire more, which is why, in a pragmatic approach, the mayor here has somewhat embraced more federal agents coming to what they say would be support D.C. police efforts. So that's how it's been going so far here in D.C., and we're waiting to see whether this crime emergency is going to come to an end or if Congress is going to pass an extension.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's going to be an extension, for damn sure. I will not be surprised by that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you guys decided to be right here with me. So I can't thank you guys enough for hitting that like button, engaging in the comments, and as well as the live chat. I can't thank you guys enough over there and hanging out with us as always, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tonight, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have the Diamond Effect. I believe we're going to be, I can't remember the exact topic. Let me go ahead and pull it up on my side so I can see. It is former IRS agent speaking out. All right, so I guess it is going to be an interview type. So nonetheless, that means I'll be having my left-handed tobacco and my drinky poo, and we're going to be sitting back and enjoying the evening. And then tomorrow, we'll be back, as always, to present the world's madness, as we always do, over here on Insane Wheels. Thank you guys so much for making these very shows happen. Thank you guys for the donations as well. Until tomorrow, if I don't see you guys tonight, much love, honor, respect, and God bless everyone. Stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding our buddy 10th Man. He's a bit of a internet troll, and he's very entertaining. So, anyways, stick around for it.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.